McDonald's. You either love it or you don't, but like it or not, they are everywhere. It seems like you can't go far these days without passing by the golden arches of fast food royalty. But what if I told you that there are some McDonald's that are so far and so far out there, they appeared as though they belonged in a parallel universe. And some of them are even banned to the general public. First up is a sit-down and drive-through McDonald's located in Samoa, also known as the most remote McDonald's in the world, sitting at an astounding 770 miles, or about 4,600,000 feet from the next nearest franchise location. The restaurant, which is located inside a 150-year-old colonial mansion on the small island country, features a Makaiga meal that costs 38 pounds, about $65 Canadian, and consists of 2 Big Mac medium meals, 2 quarter-pounder small meals, 2 deluxe cheeseburgers, and 2 8-piece McNuggets. Honestly, not a bad deal. You might think it difficult to sustain the franchise on such a small island, but the reality is quite the opposite in fact. Locals and tourists alike rejoice in the little slice of processed heaven and have kept the business booming since its opening in 2000. The restaurant is also a notable hotspot for the island's rugby team, with players enjoying the fast food delights so much that they were actually banned from partaking in such delicacies while competing overseas, as their coach feared their inevitable overindulgence would ruin their chances at winning the World Cup. Next up, we have the Arizona Aqua Arts Beauty located in Sedona, Arizona. While it might not be banned, you just might miss it, as when the restaurant was constructed in 1993 just off of Route 98A, its existence was contingent on the fact that the restaurant blended seamlessly with the natural beauty of the 48th state. While at first this was a bit of a turnoff for developers, the collaboration with the state's city council and planning and zoning commissions actually turned out to be a quite lucrative one. The restaurant became yet another reason for tourists to make their way to the Sandy State, and those who were already there just had to check out this one-off, off-colored location and lay their eyes on the blue-green arches they had heard so much about before heading off on their next adventure. And that brings us to our next location, in New Mexico. Fun fact, while New Mexico is well known for being a hotbed for extraterrestrial action and activity, it is also home to one of the most out-of-this-world McDonald's locations known to man, and possibly others? In case you haven't guessed by now, this McDonald's was built in the shape of a giant, unidentified flying object, or extraterrestrial spaceship, if you will. The UFO-shaped McDonald's graced the sunny state of New Mexico around 2011 and quickly became one of the coolest locations to date and a huge tourist hotspot for Big Mac hoppers and alien enthusiasts alike. With its bright red lights and glowing golden arches, who knows what kind of creatures this thing attracts. Now, it might not be banned, but it does look like it has the opportunity to blast off into hyperspace, so if you were looking for an excuse to visit, well, there it is. Speaking of oddly shaped places to enjoy a nice hot meal served to you in a cardboard box, we have the plane-shaped McDonald's located in New Zealand. Well, it's not just plane-shaped, it's actually a decommissioned Douglas DC-3 aircraft, complete with an intact cockpit. While you can't actually order food from inside of the Big M emblem-adorned airliner, you can grab your food from the counters located in the more traditional restaurant next door, and then bring them over to enjoy an experience like never before. That's right, I'm talking about eating microwave food on an airplane. To be honest, I'm not quite sure how either airlines or fast food restaurants cook their food, but what I do know is that Douglas DC-3 has a fully refurbished interior, complete with big comfy red chairs and shiny metal tables, creating a dining experience like no other that can accommodate up to 20 patrons at a time. What's the coolest McDonald's you've ever been to? Let us know in the comments. Have you ever tried to go through a drive-thru without a car? Oh, yeah, me neither. Well, if you ever wanted to, this next location is the place to do it, as cars are strictly banned from this ski-through McDonald's located in Lidvallen Ski Resort, about 200 miles northwest of Stockholm in Sweden, also known as McSki. The newly popular location has actually been around since about 1966, if you can believe it, and has been a staple for skiers and snowboarders alike. With McDonald's complete classic menu available for order, this pick-me-up pit stop is truly like no other, and as hitting the slopes can work up quite an appetite, I truly can't think of a better way to satisfy your hunger without cutting too much into your adrenaline-chasing chill time. McDonald's is best known for being a quick spot that doesn't break the bank. But have you ever heard of a McDonald's that was a bank? Well, if you haven't, you're about to. With one user on TripAdvisor referring to it as the classiest McDonald's in the world, this one-off variation is located in, bear with me, Kristiansand, and Norway. While there is not much information of this particular franchise location to be found online, it is open to the public and boasts a classic McDonald's menu, as well as a few more items specific to McDonald's in Norway, such as the home-style juicy burger, pasta salad with chicken or ham, hot wings, oatmeal with raisins, the chicken premier burger, and something called a McToast. Because of its location, we of course have to assume that at one point many areas within the walls of what is now a cool place for a quick bite were strictly banned from the public, given that the restaurant once contained safes and vaults full of copious amounts of cash. Next on the list we have a McDonald's, an extremely popular mega capitalist McDonald's, laughably and ironically located directly outside the entrance to the Museum of Communism, located in Czechia, Prague. Now, honestly, in this instance, I'm surprised it wasn't banned from ever being open there in the first place. But it seems the Prager people have quite the sense of humor, as there is an ad posted outside of the museum that reads, "Museum of Communism," above the casino, right next to the McDonald's. So I guess they really are above capitalism. The McBarge, as it was once known, is next on the list. This creepily eerie and now abandoned location was once the forefront of innovation for the franchise. When the floating restaurant was opened in 1986, it was a place for sea dwellers and landlubbers alike to indulge in what seems to be everyone's common ground: cheap food and good scenery. However, the magic of the marina-based Maiden didn't last long, as only 5 years after, in 1991, the new owner of the grounds forced the boat to depart from the docks, making it rather difficult to keep the business booming. Since the McBarge's departure from the McDocks of Vancouver, it has been anchored and abandoned just near British Columbia. Since then, many people have been going out to see this abandoned national treasure, and there has even been some public interest in refurbishing and reopening the restaurant as well. Believe it or not, New Mexico wasn't actually the first place to have a space-themed establishment. The OG extraterrestrial spacecraft turned restaurant was actually located in Alconbury, Cambridge in England, and was built in 1990 and converted into a McDonald's shortly after in 1993. But much like the McBarge, the adventure was short-lived, as it shut down just 7 years later in the year 2000. The UFO-inspired structure adorned with the golden arches we all know and love was, at the time, the definition of space-aged architecture. The restaurant showcased a computerized ordering system and a drive-thru that often queued all the way out into the main road. A former employee by the name of David Meredith described the restaurant as having a gloomy atmosphere, saying that although it was space-aged, the lights were dim, and whoever had crafted the structure, it seems, had forgotten to add windows. While this location is not necessarily banned, it is unable to be reached by the public, or anyone else for that matter, as it was sadly demolished in 2008 after having been abandoned since its closure just 8 years prior. And that brings us to our final location in the infamous Guantanamo Bay, an area best known for being home to the largest detention camp under the control of the United States and the United States military. Since 2002, roughly 780 detainees have been held at the center. However, in a report released in 2023, it seems that number has since dwindled to just 30 persons who are still being kept within its walls. To enter Guantanamo Bay would require area clearance and a special kind of government-issued passport. So you might be wondering, how did a McDonald's end up there, and why? Well, the only McDonald's in Cuba opened in 1986 and has since been a staple of home to the military personnel residing there while working for the US government. And as long as the US continues to exercise its jurisdiction and control over the Bay Area, I'm guessing it's here to stay. Now, while it's no secret that American soldiers tend to enjoy some McDonald's every now and then, it appears the prisoners living on the base might too, as there have been rumors of inmates being offered Happy Meals in exchange for their cooperation. Of course, this area is completely banned to members of the public, so don't be expecting to indulge in any Big Macs or Happy Meals the next time you hit up Cuba. Starting off our list today with the Republic of Molossia, a 1.3-acre micronation near Daytona in Nevada. While this micronation, brought to life by the mind of Kevin Baugh, does claim sovereignty, it has yet to receive recognition from any of the 193 member states of the United Nations. Why is that? Well, because the Republic of Molossia is not actually real. Well, I mean, it is real, but in the sense that it exists, not in the sense that it's recognized as its own state with the authority to govern itself. The unrecognized town, or state if you're Kevin Baugh, is based off of the movie The Mouse That Roared, as well as Baugh's time serving in the military. The national drink of Molossia is called the Molossalini, and it's a non-alcoholic mixture of Sprite, grenadine, and pineapple juice with a garnish of cherries, banana slices, and pineapple. As for the town's currency, it's Valora, the currency issued by the Bank of Molossia. It comes in coins of 1, 5, 10, and 30 with an exchange rate to US dollars of 80 cents per 1 Valora dollar. Pillsbury chocolate chip cookie dough, however, is worth 5 Valora, so do with that information what you will. This town is truly a fever dream. Next up, we've got Green Bank, West Virginia, the no-tech town that is definitely not watching this video right now because, well, they have no tech. Green Bank is a national radio quiet zone, meaning that anything that puts out radio frequencies such as radios, television, computers, broadcasting, mobile phones, microwaves, and pretty much all other electronics are strictly banned from the town. Not only is this a very real law, the enforcement of the law is very real as well. The town has something called radio police, who go around using specialized equipment to detect signals coming from unauthorized electronics. They seriously aren't messing around. Now, if you're wondering what possible reason could there be for this town's strict silent nature, the answer is actually quite simple. Green Bank is home to the Green Bank Telescope, the world's largest fully steerable telescope designed to listen in on radio waves originating from space. Any interference on the ground whatsoever would render it practically useless. Imagine a world in which we bow our heads away from technology in allegiance to a telescope. Or, you know, just go to Green Bank and you don't have to imagine. Next up, we have Tangier, Virginia, located on Tangier Island in the Chesapeake Bay and home to a whopping 463 people, according to a census conducted in 2020. The town, or island if you want to get technical, has been shrinking since the year 1850, and I don't mean just population-wise, I'm talking about land mass as well, which of course directly correlates to a decrease in population, but that's besides the point. It is likely that eventually one day this little island town will need to be abandoned, and that after that the land will disappear altogether. Some of the island's more notable quirks, other than its small population and the fact that it's literally disappearing, are the fact that there is absolutely no alcohol allowed. There is no phone service, and there is only one grocery store. There are surprisingly 2 restaurants, and the residents use golf carts as their primary mode of transportation. Also, for some reason, the residents of this town, located smack dab in the middle of Virginia, USA, speak with a thick Old English accent for some odd reason. Next up, a town with a population of 3 people. Gross. I mean, it must be gross. Gross, Nebraska, that is. There's not much more interesting about this town other than the fact that it's pretty much a ghost town, save the 3 people living there as confirmed by the 2020 census, which I'm sure took days to complete. Of course, this wasn't always the case. At one point in 2010, there were a total of 2 people living in the town. So actually less, under one roof, of course. Take it back even further to 2000, and there was a whopping 5 people living in the town under one roof. A married couple and their children, all under the age of 18. Based purely off of the census readings, I'm gonna go ahead and venture a guess that as soon as they could, the kids moved out and left the town. I don't blame them. Next up, Solvang, California, aka the Danish capital of America. Basically, this town is the Europe of California. The town resides in the Santa Ynez Valley, and stepping into it is like stepping into a world where Europe is warm and just 1 hour away from the California surf. The town originated in 1804 and is, of course, home to a large Danish population. There is a classic folk school in the town that emphasizes lectures, singing, gymnastics, folk dancing, and fellowship. And there's a Danish 14th century Gothic style church. The architecture in the rest of the town is also incredibly Danish and incredibly beautiful. And the best part is, unlike in Denmark, Solvang is practically always warm and sunny. It's truly the best of both worlds, and I imagine the food there is delicious. Next up, forget Sin City. It's Slab City, located in California, USA. Originally, the area was used as a training camp for Marine Corps during World War II. Today, however, the town is the grounds of an alternative lifestyle town that has attracted people from all over the world. The name Slab City comes from the concrete slabs that remain in the area after the Marine training camp was torn down. And the reason it's on this list is because the town is just a bit different from what you and I are likely used to. First of all, the most common source of income in the town is ISS checks, which is just government subsidized income. The main source of electricity is solar panels, and the main form of entertainment is probably just hanging around. There are also some pretty cool art installations around the town, so if you're ever in Cali and you want to get off the grid or step into what might just feel like a parallel universe, go ahead and check it out. And if you've been there before, let me know how it was. Next up, we have the incredibly appropriately named Soda Springs in Idaho, home to hundreds of natural springs, but not just regular natural springs, cool natural springs, because they are free-flowing with carbonated water. Talk about bougie. A dip in a Soda Springs spring would feel like bathing in Perrier. Like in this town, when people say sparkling or still, they aren't actually referring to drinking water, but rather their bodies of water. How cool is that? There is one other thing about the town that I think is worth mentioning, and that is their soda water geyser. Yeah, not only does carbonated water flow through the many springs of the appropriately named town, it also shoots 70 feet up into the air every hour, on the hour, every day, always. And I'll tell you why. In 1973, while drilling for hot water, residents of the town accidentally drilled into a chamber of highly pressurized carbon dioxide. Instead of hot water, they got cold, fully carbonated water spewing 70 feet into the air. Eventually, after weeks of the geyser continuously going and subsequently flooding the town, it was capped, making it the world's only capped geyser. As I mentioned, the cap is open every hour on the hour, so as long as you're in the town for more than 60 minutes, you'll get to tell your friends that you saw the OG soda stream. Next up, we have Casey, Illinois, home to a lot of big things for some reason. By that I mean the town is filled with giant, supersized roadside attractions, including these big antlers, this big anvil, a big bat, a big bird cage, a rather large bookworm, a big cactus, a big crochet hook, a massive ear of corn, a big old glider plane, a giant horseshoe, oversized knitting needles, to say the least, a giant mousetrap, a big old nail puzzle, a big pencil, big piggy bank, a big pizza slicer, a giant rocking horse, a big spinning top, a large wooden token, a big yardstick, and of course my personal favorite, a big taco. That's a big list. Next up, we have Gibtown, which was once the go-to retirement town of choice for old carnival workers and was nicknamed the last sideshow town in America. The place was like a carnival on steroids, 365 days a year. There were sword swallowers, Siamese twins, tall men, strong men, fire eaters, bearded ladies, and so much more. The town featured a post office with extra low counters and a beer hall with extra large chairs to accommodate its wide range of residents. At one time, 14,900 people lived in the town, which was also home to 3 factories built to manufacture Ferris wheels and carousels. Fitting. The town followed a strict carny code and subscribed to the ideal of unconditional love and support for your fellow man, and retirement houses were provided to those in need. It was purposefully kept secret from the public as it was a safe haven for those who decided to call the town home. Today, the town is pretty much abandoned by its former residents, but its history remains incredibly fascinating and thus has earned itself a spot on today's list. And finally, we have San Luis Obispo. Not necessarily the entire town, but definitely part of it. That part being Bubblegum Alley, which honestly is one of the most disgusting things I have ever seen ever. It's literally just an alley covered in discarded chewing gum. And for some reason, people go there on purpose. The alley is 70 feet long and 15 feet tall on either side, and it is also the world's largest collection of used bubblegum. And it is also a giant health hazard and some kind of massive outbreak just waiting to happen. It looks so gross, and looking at it makes me feel gross. But hey, if I had to, you have to. If you've been here before, let me know down below in the comments, but honestly, I really hope you haven't, because Ew.
Coming in at number 10 is Yosemite National Park. With more than 750 miles of trail, Yosemite National Park is a vast unspoiled wilderness, making it a hiker's dream. But if someone disappears, sending a search team is a nightmare. Now at the moment there are 13 people still missing there, the disappearances ranging from 1972 to 2021. Now one disappearance is the case of Michael Fiercy. He was an outdoorsman, so why did he get lost and never be found? We don't know. In 2005 he decided to hike solo through Yosemite National Park. He had once cracked an ankle at Yellowstone, having to crawl all the way out of the wilderness, so when the outdoorsman failed to return from his adventure after his permit expired and his family expected him home, they feared the worst. Now the search for Fiercy was so massive that the United States Marines were involved. They found one thing belonged to him, his backpack. Now it contained his map, water, and camera. Now his friends and family were even more concerned at this point because they believed that Fiercy would never willingly leave his bag at any time during a hike. Now unfortunately, in the 16 years that have passed, not another trace of Fiercy has been found. With someone so experienced, I find this disappearance to be suspicious. Number 9. Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Dennis Martin was on a camping trip at Great Smoky Mountains National Park with his family in the summer of 1969. Dennis and his brothers had planned a prank. They were going to hide separately in the bush and jump out on different sides of the campsite to scare their fathers. They did the prank, but they realized that Dennis was missing. Family, park rangers, and other hikers spread out to search for Dennis almost immediately, but he was nowhere to be found. That evening there was heavy rainfall, which is bad news when you're trying to track someone. The search for Dennis became the largest in National Park Service history. Dennis seemed to have disappeared completely, leaving no trace at all. Now people's disappearances at national parks have prompted people to question how a map of missing persons in the US lines up with America's largest cave systems. Are these people disappearing and being taken to these caves by cave people, animals, or some sort of creature? And are the caves portals to parallel universes? Who knows? Number 8. San Bernardino National Forest. David Gonzalez went camping with his family in San Bernardino National Forest. At one point he asked his mother if he could go get some cookies from the family car, but 40 minutes passed and his mother realized that David never returned and the cookies he wanted to grab were still inside the car. Now he was never found alive again. His death is viewed as one of the strange disappearances in national parks. A week after missing, his badly decomposed body was found only a mile away from where he went missing. Now this area was already combed days prior, so this means that he must have been dropped there by someone or something. An autopsy revealed no trauma and no overt injury. He was just dead without any reason or clue as to why. Now this is already baffling, but what makes the case of David so strange is not his disappearance alone, it's the way the local authorities and investigators seem to handle the case. The officials claim that David was dragged off by a mountain lion, despite no injuries that would suggest that be his fate. Nobody nearby heard David scream either. Now David's parents had gone on record to say that they don't believe David got dragged off by a cougar. They believe that he was kidnapped and that he still may be alive somewhere and that the body wasn't his. Now is this sounding exactly like Stranger Things to anyone else? Maybe he got sucked into the Upside Down with Will and is fighting against a Demogorgon. Number 7. Grand Canyon National Park. At least 56 people have been reported missing from Grand Canyon National Park since the beginning of 2018, and at least 6 people have been found dead. Now this is despite the park not only being smaller, but seeing millions fewer visitors than many of the other 424 national park sites. While the park is beautiful, a New York Post investigation recently found it is also the deadliest national park in the country, with the most number of missing persons in the nation. On June 2nd, 2015, Morgenheimer was working for Tour West, a commercial rafting company, and he was a guide for an 8-day rafting trip along the Colorado River in the Grand Canyon. While standing near a cliff, Morgan spoke with the lead rafting guide and mentioned something about taking some time off that afternoon. The lead guide was pulled away by a client during this conversation and walked away from the cliff to speak with them. When the guide looked back to the direction that Morgan was standing, he was gone. Now the guide just assumed that Morgan had taken a break and would be back, but Morgan was never seen again. During the afternoon and into the evening, Morgan never showed up for the group's activities. A member of the group then reported Morgan missing that same day. Bay. Park rangers and search and rescue teams thoroughly searched the river and surrounding areas. The search lasted for 6 days before it was assumed that Morgan must have drowned. Now his body has never turned up, and there was no trace that he was still alive after June 2nd, 2015. Number 6. Chiricahua National Monument. On January 13th, 1980, Ranger Paul Fugate disappeared from what should have been a routine hike in Arizona's Chiricahua National Monument. Paul, who was last seen heading out to do a trail check around 2 p.m., told a coworker that they could start closing duties without him if he wasn't back by 4:30 p.m. He was then seen starting down the trailhead, and that was the last any person spoke to him or saw him. His girlfriend alerted authorities, who undertook a search for him. They first assumed that he had been a victim of an accident and was injured or stranded in the backcountry. However, as the investigation continued and no traces were found, suspicions began to arise. No trace of Paul has ever been found since that day in 1980. Now, to make things even more difficult, Chiricahua has 17 square miles of canyons, treacherous terrain, and wildlands. Now, the search and rescue teams found absolutely nothing related to the park ranger. Number 5. Nahanni National Park Reserve. Now, this is a strange case. Over the decades, many unfortunate travelers and explorers have gone missing, or they turned up dead and beheaded in the Nahanni Valley. Now, the number of decapitated bodies found within the Nahanni Valley have earned it the nickname Valley of Headless Men. In 1917, Martin Jorgensen's body was discovered decapitated next to the remains of his cabin as it was burned to the ground. It is suspected that he struck gold in the vicinity as he wrote of it back home before ending up beheaded. Then in 1931, another body was found. This time it was that of Phil Powers. His charred remains were discovered in ashes of what were his cabin. The RCMP were quick to attribute his death to a faulty stovepipe, but their explanation was repeatedly debunked by various sources. Now, many others simply disappeared without a trace in the remote wilderness of the valley. In 1928, one prospector named Angus Hall ventured ahead of his party and was never seen again. Another pair of prospectors, Joe Mulholland and Bill Ipper, disappeared in 1936. Now, for many years they were searched for but were never found. The only thing discovered was their cabin, burnt down to the ground. Why are so many people going missing in this specific area, and why are their cabins being burnt down? Number 4. Mount Charleston in Humboldt-Toiyabe National Forest. Larry Jeffrey disappeared near the peak of a 12,000-foot Mount Charleston in Humboldt-Toiyabe National Forest. Now, the search began immediately after the boy wandered away from his brothers, and within days the National Guard and a team of bloodhounds had joined the search. In a TV interview, David Paulies told reporter George Knapp that there were no predators afoot that day, and since the area they were in was pretty secluded, it's easy to rule out abduction by car. This boy just walked into oblivion, David said. Now, when Jeffrey disappeared, he was wearing light clothing, and authorities were doubtful that he could survive the cold temperatures at night. Now, searchers found and lost the trail a few times, and they discovered evidence that the boy had been eating insects and forged berries along the way. Overall, 1,000 people searched for 16 days but never found him. It appears that he just went poof, maybe into an alternate dimension. Perhaps. Number 3. Ozark National Park. In the 1940s, a girl named Catherine Van Alst went missing while camping at Ozark National Park with her family. She was barefoot and wearing only her swimsuit when she disappeared. Now, searches were conducted high and low for the missing girl, but it wasn't until 6 days later that she was found. Now, the catch: she was still barefoot, still in her swimsuit, and totally unharmed. She was alive. Now, she'd also traveled over 30 miles and climbed 600 feet without getting a scratch on her. She wasn't even scared. Now, no one, including her, has ever been able to explain it. Could she have gotten trapped in a portal and somehow made her way back to our world? That could be one explanation for sure. Number 2. Santa Fe National Forest. Santa Fe National Forest in New Mexico has bizarre wooden structures all throughout the forest. Now, no one knows who made them or why. The structures range in size but have all been constructed out of fallen trees and limbs, with some reaching over 20 feet tall and dozens of feet in diameter. They don't seem to have a pattern as to their locations, they simply just appear. Now, they do have a few things in common though. They resemble teepees, though no one can actually live inside them, and the Forest Service has no idea who is building them or why, but their response so far has been to dismantle any that are found. The destruction of these mystery structures is to eliminate the forest fire threat that they create. The Santa Fe National Park Service has issued a press release asking for any information about the mystery structures, and according to the release, these structures are prohibited under federal law and violators could face a fine up to $5,000 and possible imprisonment for 6 months. Now, does this have to do with cults? Can these structures transport you to another dimension? I guess we'll have to see. And coming in at number 1 is Green Mountain National Forest. The Vermont State Police exists because of Paula Jean Weldon. Now, Paula Weldon was a student at Vermont's Bennington College and was familiar with the Green Mountain National Forest to the east of her college town. Now, according to Bennington Banner, Paula set off for the trail on December 1st, 1946, telling her roommate, "I'm off for a long walk," and she was wearing relatively light clothing. Now, she apparently hitchhiked to the trail with local Louis Knapp, who gave a ride to a young woman matching her description. He dropped her off near the trail, and the last known person to see her was a washman named Ernie Whiteman, who warned her about going into the cold landscape. Once it became clear that Paula had gone into the forest but hadn't left, a search was organized, but it was to no avail. Now, Paula was actually one of 6 people who were reported missing near Bennington from 1945 to 1950. Now, their still unsolved disappearances helped to earn the nickname of Bennington Triangle for the area.
Starting off this list in our number 10 spot, we have Ah-Shi-Sle-Pah. This place is a remote desert area located in northwestern New Mexico that is known for its unique and otherworldly rock formations. These formations, which include hoodoos, spires, and arches, have an eerie and otherworldly quality that has led some to speculate that they could be from a parallel universe. The landscape of this location is so unusual that it almost defies belief. The rocks appear to be twisted and distorted, as if they have been shaped by some unknown force. Some of the formations look like alien beings, while others resemble ancient ruins. Despite its remote location, Ah-Shi-Sle-Pah has become a popular destination for hikers, photographers, and adventurers. Many visitors report feeling as if they have stepped into another world when exploring the area, and I don't blame them. The photos truly look like they could be from another planet. Whether or not this place is truly from a parallel universe, there is no denying that its otherworldly beauty and strangeness make it a truly unique and fascinating destination. In our number 9 spot today, we have Raketsbrück. Also known as the Devil's Bridge, this structure is a unique and striking bridge located in Kromlau, Germany. The bridge was built in the 19th century and is famous for its unusual design, which makes it appear as though it could be from a parallel universe. The bridge is built in a circular shape, and its arch is perfectly reflected in the water below, creating a complete circle. The effect gives the impression that the bridge is a portal to another world or dimension. The symmetry and precision of the bridge's design have led many to speculate that it was built using some kind of ancient technology or even by supernatural means. The bridge is also an important historical monument representing the engineering achievements of its time. While this place in itself doesn't necessarily look like it's from a parallel universe, the legends still persist today that suggest it might be the perfect place to enter one. In our number 8 spot today, we have Pamukkale. Located in southwestern Turkey, this place is a natural wonder that looks like it could be from a parallel universe. This unique destination is known for its stunning white terraces and thermal pools, which have been formed over thousands of years by the natural mineral deposits in the area. The terraces of Pamukkale resemble a cascading frozen waterfall with sparkling blue pools of water at the top. The contrast between the white terraces and the blue water is truly breathtaking, and the site is unlike anything else in the world. Many visitors describe the experience of walking on the terraces as otherworldly, as the sensation of walking on the soft white surface is unlike anything else that they have ever experienced, and that is exactly why this place has the nickname Cotton Castle. The surreal beauty of this place has led many to speculate that it is a portal to another world or a place that exists outside of our reality. It is believed by many that the waters here are not only strikingly beautiful, but that they also contain healing powers, which makes it a spot that sees travelers from all over the world. In our number 7 spot today, we have the Waitomo Caves. These caves are a unique and stunning attraction located in the North Island of New Zealand. The caves are known for their stunning display of glowworms, which light up the dark and seemingly endless caverns in a way that makes it seem like they could be from a parallel universe. As visitors enter the caves, they are immediately struck by the otherworldly atmosphere. The walls of the caves are adorned with glittering formations, and the silence is broken only by the gentle drip of water. The real magic of the caves, however, comes from the glowworms that inhabit them. These tiny creatures emit a blue-green light that illuminates the caverns in a way that feels almost supernatural. The experience of walking through the Waitomo glowworm caves is truly unique and unforgettable, and many visitors describe feeling as though they have stepped into another world. Whether or not the caves are actually a portal to a parallel universe, there is no denying that they are a stunning example of the natural beauty and wonder of our world. In our number 6 spot today, we have the Zhangyi Danxia landform. Located in China, this place is a stunning and unique geological feature. The landform is made up of a series of multicolored rock formations that have been shaped by millions of years of natural erosion and deposition. The colors of the rock formations are so vivid and intense that it's almost hard to believe that they really are natural. It fully looks like a man-made creation, despite that not being the case at all. The layers of sandstone, siltstone, and mudstone that make up the landform have been exposed to the elements for millions of years, resulting in a surreal and alien-like landscape. Visitors to the area can explore it on foot or by car, taking in the breathtaking views of the colorful mountains and valleys. The unique beauty of the landform has made it a very popular destination for tourists, and of course for photographers from around the world who come to experience this otherworldly landscape for themselves. In our number 5 spot today, we have the White Sands National Park, another place in New Mexico, because honestly, New Mexico is definitely a home to many unusual things, and the White Sands National Park is no exception, but it is unbelievable. This national park is a stunning destination due to its unique and surreal appearance. The park features a vast expanse of white sand dunes, which are composed of gypsum crystals and form an otherworldly landscape that feels almost alien. Visitors to the park are immediately struck by the contrast between the bright white sand and the vivid blue sky, which creates a very surreal and almost dreamlike atmosphere. The dunes themselves are constantly shifting and changing, creating a landscape that seems to be in a constant state of flux. The unique beauty of the White Sands National Park has led many to describe it as a portal to another world, or a place that exists in another universe. Whether or not that is true, there is no denying that this park is stunning and unforgettable, and a destination that should be on every traveler's bucket list. In our number 4 spot today, we have the Danakil Depression. The Danakil Depression is a part of the Afar Triangle in Ethiopia, and it is a geological depression that came about as a result of Africa and Asia moving apart. The divergence of 3 tectonic plates caused rifting and volcanic activity. This place is the hottest place on Earth in terms of average year-round temperatures, and it is also one of the lowest places on Earth at 100 meters below sea level. There are active volcanoes in the area, there are salt springs, sulfur springs, and it only gets about 4 to 8 inches of rain every year. What I'm saying is that this place is stunning and has an incredibly rich geological history, and it also fully looks like it could be from another planet. This otherworldly landscape and quite inhospitable environment is the home to the Afar people. Somehow they have managed to overcome the odds and the obstacles and managed to thrive in this extreme environment, and it is said that this was made possible over the centuries by their ability to adapt to need less food and water than other humans. That's one of the most remarkable things I've ever heard. The Danakil Depression is a popular destination for adventurous travelers who are seeking an experience that is truly out of this world. Visitors can explore the area on foot or by camel, taking in the breathtaking views of the alien-like landscape. Despite the harsh conditions, the area is also home to a number of fascinating animals and plants that have adapted to this unique environment. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Pyramids of Giza. One of the most mysterious places on Earth has to be the Pyramids of Giza. I mean, how? For centuries, people have wondered and tried to find answers as to how they were built at all, let alone with the limited resources and without the use of modern technology. And they've been around for the last 4,000 years, so the durability alone is outstanding. This alone is the source of much mystery, but that's only the outside of them. What lies on the inside might just be even more so. The Pyramids of Giza, especially the Great Pyramid of Giza, were believed to have been built as tombs for rulers and other wealthy people. That totally makes make sense, except for the fact that there hasn't been any mummies found inside of them. Instead, there's just a plethora of secret, unexplored rooms, hidden doors and mirrors, you know, just regular ancient Egypt stuff. Many of these secret rooms remain completely unexplored over fear of damage. One more strange thing about these incredible creations is that they were built on the center of the Earth. However they did this, they aligned them perfectly with Orion's belt, with no technology. Just pure brilliance. I'm saying, if anywhere is going to take you to a parallel universe, these pyramids will take you back in time to a completely different world. In our number 2 spot today, we have the Crooked Forest. Forests are already creepy, but this one looks like it's straight out of a Tim Burton film. The Crooked Forest in Poland. There's around 400 odd-shaped pine trees near the town of Grafino. These trees are about 90 years old, and all of the trees, from the base, they immediately bend towards the north and then slowly curve back towards the sky, like other trees. Despite this odd bend, the trees are otherwise healthy. There's been so many theories as to how these trees got their bend, but none of them really stick. Some suggest it was a gravitational anomaly, but that's a little too far-fetched for me. I don't know, this isn't Interstellar. Other theories claim that there were heavy snowfalls that could weigh down the branches, which could check out, but why is it just a select amount? I've lived in Canada my entire life. We have lots of snow, and I've never seen a Sleepy Hollow tree. My favorite theory is that the farmers were trying to make the tree curved on purpose to make stronger wheels because the grain direction would make for naturally curved wheels. But again, nobody knows for sure. What are your thoughts? Do we like the wheel theory? And finally, in our number 1 spot today, we have the Catatumbo River. Basically, in western Venezuela, right over the Catatumbo River, there are these insane, very intense lightning storms, and it is a complete atmospheric phenomenon. This lightning occurs during 140 to 160 nights a year, 9 hours per day, and from 16 to 40 times per minute. That is absolutely insane. That is so much lightning. This place will transport you into a parallel universe where it's just lightning all the time. Another thing that's so fascinating about this lightning is that it is colorful and it doesn't produce any thunder. The lightning does change its frequency up from time to time, and at one point it stopped for a few weeks and people thought that maybe it was going to have been exhausted forever, but that thankfully changed when the lightning came back, putting it right back on our list of mysteries that we just can't quite figure out. Many people have studied the lightning, trying to figure out how exactly it has been created and what makes this phenomena what it is, but we just aren't yet quite sure. Starting off this list, in our number 10 spot, we have the Hoia-Baciu Forest. This dense woodland is located in the heart of Transylvania, Romania, which, as I'm sure you're well aware, already has quite the reputation for eerie and spooky things. The forest covers an area of approximately 250 hectares and is known for its unusual and unexplained occurrences, earning it the nickname the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania. How convenient. The forest is known for its twisted and gnarled trees, which create a very haunting atmosphere, as well as the strange circular patches of land that dot the area known as Hoia, which some believe to be the result of UFO activity. The forest has also been the site of many alleged paranormal events, including ghost sightings, unexplained lights and sounds, and even disappearances, which is exactly why many believe it is a portal to another world. Some visitors to the forest who didn't disappear have even reported rashes, nausea, and feelings of anxiety afterwards. Despite its eerie reputation, the forest is also a place of immense natural beauty with a diverse range of flora and fauna. The forest is home to many rare and endangered species of plants and animals, including several species of orchids and woodpeckers. The forest is also rich in its history, as it is said it was once the site of a medieval fortress and was an important location during the Second World War. The area is also steeped in local folklore and legends, with stories of supernatural beings and witches who are said to dwell in the forest. All in all, this place is jam-packed with spooky stories, strange occurrences, and beautiful but haunting scenery. All the things that make it the perfect place to enter another world. In our number 9 spot today, we have the real Bermuda Triangle, not the Bermuda Triangle of Transylvania. The Bermuda Triangle is really just the mecca when it comes to mysterious disappearances and rumors and urban legends, so of course it had to make it onto this list today. The triangle, which sits in between Florida, Puerto Rico, and Bermuda, earned its deadly reputation starting back in the 1970s. Since then, there has been about 80 aircrafts and 60 boats that have gone missing in the triangle, which only fueled rumors that there was some sort of force or supernatural cause that was making this area one where people would often go missing. There have been intense electrical forces and tunnel-like clouds reported in the triangle, which some may believe is the cause of the disappearances. Some others believe it's weather patterns. Some believe it's the entrance to a parallel universe, or a place where aliens like to abduct their victims, and some people just like to dismiss the idea that there's any sort of mystery at all. At this point, exactly what is going on with the Bermuda Triangle remains a mystery. In our number 8 spot today, we have the Oregon Vortex. Just off of Interstate 5 in southern Oregon lies what is called the Oregon Vortex. According to local legend, it is said that this area and the strange and mysterious stories surrounding it aren't just modern legends, but perhaps it stems back further. People have said that the stories of the Oregon Vortex actually stem back to when indigenous Americans referred to it as the Forbidden Land. It is said that during these times, people traveling on horses would often find their horses refusing to go into the area. So clearly, something strange was going on in there that was spooking these animals right out. Scientists have speculated that the land might contain some kind of crossed magnetic lines that produce basically like a force field, but whatever it really is, the place is truly strange. Things appear very differently here. It's sort of like everything is an optical illusion. The area is basically a parallel universe in itself. In our number 7 spot today, we have Socotra Island. Socotra Island is a remote island located in the Arabian Sea, about 240 kilometers east of the Horn of Africa and 380 kilometers south of the Arabian Peninsula, and it has been described as, quote, the most alien-looking place on Earth. It is a part of Yemen and is known for its unique and otherworldly qualities, as well as its rare and endemic plant and animal species. In fact, so many species here are endemic that up to a third of its plant life isn't found anywhere else on Earth. The landscape of Socotra is strikingly surreal, with towering limestone cliffs, deep caves, and white sand beaches. The island is home to unusual rock formations and the infamous dragon blood trees. This strange-looking umbrella-shaped tree have a red sap inside of them, which is thought to be the dragon's blood of the ancients. In addition to its natural wonders, Socotra has a rich cultural heritage with a mix of African, Arabian, and South Asian influences. The island's inhabitants, the Socotri people, have a unique language and a way of life that has been preserved for centuries. Overall, this island is just truly otherworldly, and it offers a glimpse into a world unlike any other, with the island's landscape being compared to that of a science fiction movie set. In our number 6 spot today, we have Salar de Uyuni. Salar de Uyuni is the world's largest salt flat located in the southwest of Bolivia near the crest of the Andes. The area spans over 10,000 square kilometers and is characterized by a stunning otherworldly landscape. This peculiar place was formed by the evaporation of a prehistoric lake, leaving behind a thick layer of salt crust that stretches as far as the eye can see. During the rainy season, the salt flat becomes a giant mirror reflecting the sky and clouds in a breathtaking spectacle. It is truly unbelievable. It looks completely fake and is somehow super real. The unique terrain and climate of the area has also given rise to many unusual natural formations. The flat is dotted with small islands of rock and gigantic cacti, which serve as a haven for a variety of animal species. Yes, I said giant cacti. While this place is mostly devoid of life, plant or animal, that is save for these cacti that can grow to be 12 meters or 39 feet tall. The area is also home to many active geysers and hot springs, as well as colorful lakes that are filled with flamingos during certain times of the year. In fact, in November, this place becomes a feeding ground for 3 South American species of flamingo feeding on local brine shrimps. These are the Chilean, Andean, and rare James flamingos. Aside from its natural wonders, Salar de Uyuni is also rich in cultural history. The area has been inhabited by the indigenous Aymara people for thousands of years, and they have maintained their traditional way of life and culture to this day. In our number 5 spot today, we have the Challenger Deep. The Challenger Deep is the deepest known point in our ocean, around 10,900 meters deep. It is located in the Pacific Ocean in the southern part of the Mariana Trench, and because of its location, lack of light, and immense pressure, it hasn't been explored very much. The extreme environment has certainly set up for there to be a whole host of species that we know absolutely nothing about, but it is not an area that can be easily explored by humans. The Challenger Deep has only been visited 4 times and only for short periods of time, so there is so much more that is waiting to be uncovered at this deep, dark part of our ocean, and I don't know about you, but I feel like there are crazy amounts of ocean creatures that could fully be aliens. They are so strange and interesting and unique, so who in the world knows what really lurks down there? In our number 4 spot today, we have East Scotia Ridge. In the Southern Ocean, about 2,400 meters down, you'll find this biological community or habitat that was discovered in 2012. East Scotia Ridge is a remote underwater mountain range located between South Georgia Island and the Antarctic Peninsula. The ridge is known for its unique and very mysterious geology, as well as its diverse marine life and harsh environment. It is dark down there, but it is also hot as it is being warmed by hydrothermal vents, and it can reach temperatures up to 382 degrees Celsius, which is absolutely insane. Because of this dark, hot environment, of course, we are going to find a whole bunch of new species that were previously unknown to us. Some of these species include a new kind of albino octopus, and also albino hairy lobster that's referred to as a yeti lobster, and apparently even a crab that uses its hair to grow a bacteria that detoxifies the water. Okay? Parallel universe, that's what I'm saying. In our number 3 spot today, we have the Paris Catacombs. The catacombs in Paris are some of the most famous in the world. This is a place that holds the remains of more than 6 million people, and it's also the source of an insane amount of urban spooky legends. This ossuary was created originally in an effort to eliminate the overflowing of the city's cemeteries. To be honest, this place, after being built, was mostly forgotten, but during the 19th century it became a novelty place for concerts and private events, which is certainly macabre. After some renovations and construction, they became open to the public in 1874, and they have been the source of much mystery ever since. These catacombs are expansive, with most of them being blocked off to the public, which begs the question, why? In 2009, there is said to have been a video camera discovered inside the catacombs with footage that showed an unidentified man dropping the camera in fear of something that's also unidentified before running away into complete darkness. I'm just saying, although the catacombs sees a ton of visitors every year, I'm not convinced that we know all of what's going on down there. And I don't want to know. Keep your secrets. In our number 2 spot today, we have the Movile Cave. This cave is located in Romania, just a few kilometers from the coast of the Black Sea, and it was first discovered in 1986. This cave has been isolated from the outside world for millions of years, and basically everything that goes on inside of it is different than what we are used to. The cave life is not based on photosynthesis and rather chemosynthesis. The level of oxygen in the cave is around a third of what is normally found in the atmosphere, and of the 48 species found in the cave, 33 of them were endemic to just the cave. This cave looks absolutely terrifying, but thank goodness for the brave scientists who don't let that get in the way, because as scary as it looks, it is just as, if not more, amazing to be able to hear about what exactly this cave holds. In our number 1 spot today, we have the Zhangjiajie National Forest Park. This stunning nature reserve is located in the Hunan province of China, and it spans over 11,000 hectares and is known for its towering sandstone pillars and breathtaking natural scenery. The park is characterized by its unique and otherworldly landscapes, which includes thousands of the tall sandstone pillars that rise up from the ground. The pillars are often shrouded in mist, creating a very mystical and surreal atmosphere. Visitors can explore the park's many hiking trails, which wind through dense forests and lead to stunning lookout points, including the famous Avatar Hallelujah Mountain that inspired the scenery in the film Avatar. You too can visit Pandora right here on Earth. The area is also home to a diverse range of flora and fauna, including many rare and endangered species. Aside from the natural, this is also a spot rich in history, as it was once the home to many ancient temples and shrines located within the park. The area has been inhabited for over 3,000 years, and visitors can explore many historic sites and learn about the region's rich cultural heritage. Overall, this national forest park is a truly spectacular destination that combines natural beauty, cultural history, and a sense of awe and wonder that is sure to leave visitors feeling as though they went to another world.